Some teams with winning records that made the playoffs in 2025 will likely take a step back in the 2026 season.
Look, congrats, you made it to the postseason last year, not this year. Both of you say one of those teams is the Chargers.
Some of these teams might not even make the big dance by the conclusion of the 2026 season. So, here are 10 teams that are frauds heading into 2026. Carolina Panthers. The Panthers may have won their division with an 8-9 record in 2025 and barely squeaked their way into the playoffs, but the 2026 season is going to be a lot rougher for them. They're going to have a more intense schedule, squaring off against teams like the Baltimore Ravens, Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears, and Seattle Seahawks. Sure, Bryce Young improved in year 3, and the defense added Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd, but they likely overpaid for Phillips, who has dealt with many injuries in the past, and could have just used that money on somewhere else in order to address other needs. Philadelphia Eagles. The 2025 Eagles had it all. A strong veteran presence throughout all sides of the ball, an elite defense coached by Vic Fangio, and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley playing very well on offense. Then, everything slowly unraveled in the second half of the season, losing 3 straight games to the Dallas Cowboys, Chicago Bears, and Los Angeles Chargers, a loss to the Washington Commanders, and then getting knocked out of the wildcard round by the injury-riddled San Francisco 49ers. A.J. Brown expressed his frustration with the team during the 2025 season and is likely gonna get traded sometime in the 2026 offseason. On top of that, Hurts and the Eagles have experienced friction during the 2025 season, as he does everything he can to put it all out on the field, while others have grown frustrated with Hurts' approach when throwing the ball in tight windows against zone coverage. All those rumors could certainly affect the on-field product during the 2026 regular season, as the Eagles have a tough slate of games for the upcoming season. They're set to square off against the Rams, Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, Bears, and Steelers, most of which could definitely and will most likely expose the Eagles as frauds during the season. Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars had a very nice 2025 season, as they made the playoffs before losing a close, nail-biting game against the Buffalo Bills. The 2026 Jaguars lost a good amount of defensive talent during the offseason. Devin Lloyd is gone, and now with the Carolina Panthers. Andrew Wingard is gone, and with the Arizona Cardinals. Greg Newsome II is gone, and now playing with the Giants. Yeah, sure, Trevor Lawrence is talented, and Liam Cohen is an offensive mastermind, but, some teams may catch on to Cohen and offensive coordinator Grant Udinsky's schemes in the upcoming regular season. With the loss of all that defensive talent and the loss of Travis Etienne on offense, as he signed with the New Orleans Saints, it is going to be a whole lot tougher for the Jags to potentially repeat as AFC South champions. Pittsburgh Steelers. After the Steelers were humiliated in the wildcard round against the Houston Texans, they have more questions than answers at quarterback, as no one even knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to play in 2026 or not. Well, nobody except for Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers does retire and move on from playing, either Will Howard or Mason Rudolph will have split time under center, and I don't think either of them is exactly a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. However, the Steelers' biggest issue is the fact that their roster is one of the oldest in the NFL. TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey will both be 32 in October of this season. Cameron Hayward will be 37 before week 1. Chris Boswell is 35, and Cameron Johnston is 34. The Steelers are in uncharted waters, as Mike Tomlin stepped down as their head coach after their wildcard loss to the Houston Texans and have hired Mike McCarthy, who had a 49-35 record, but a 1-3 record in the playoffs as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So, with no answer on who the starting quarterback will be and an aging roster, the Steelers are legitimate frauds entering the 2026 season that are simply wanting to keep their streak of winning seasons alive. Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, the Raiders made some very nice moves this offseason, signing Tyler Linderbaum to a 3-year, $81 million deal in anticipation of Fernando Mendoza potentially getting drafted by this team. The Raiders are coming off a 2025 season, finishing the year with a 3-14 record and last place in the AFC West. The 2026 Raiders don't have a talented Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver for Cousins or Mendoza to work with other than tight end Brock Bowers. Last season, Max Crosby expressed his frustrations with the team despite playing through an injured left knee. He would be traded to the Baltimore Ravens, but the trade was called off due to a failed physical, and the Ravens were concerned about the severity of this knee injury. So all of that combined leads to more uncertainty for the Raiders as they look like questionable frauds heading into the 2026 season. San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have an injury problem that derailed their 2024 season and nearly derailed their 2025 season until they were defeated by the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Divisional round of the playoffs. Brandon Ayuk is not going to be playing for the team, and will likely get traded during the 2026 NFL Draft. Juwan Jennings is gone and Kendrick Bourne is gone. Meanwhile, the 49ers signed Mike Evans, who's coming off a season where his hamstring was injured, and Christian Kirk, who signed a one-year deal with the team, even though he's only produced a 1,000-yard season once in his career. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Christian McCaffrey have dealt with injuries that are not certain to play 100% of the regular season. And on top of that, the competition in the NFC West won't be easy, as the Los Angeles Rams have improved their roster, and the defending champion Seahawks are still formidable and intense. Don't be surprised if the 49ers are exposed as frauds and miss the 2026-2027 playoffs when the season is all said and done. Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons had a somewhat good finish to their 2025 season before showing Raheem Morris the exit. However, the 2026 Falcons signed Tua Tagovailoa, who has had a couple injury problems throughout his career, in order to back up Michael Penix Jr., who has also dealt with his own fair share of injuries. Sure, they have an incredibly talented roster on offense with superstars like Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, but they need a reliable quarterback who will stay healthy for the long haul of the 2026 season. On the defensive side of the ball, James Pierce Jr. was arrested on 2 charges of aggressive battery and charged with fleeing and eluding police, so he's probably facing a multi-game suspension from the league. The rest of the Falcons defense has some talent, but not enough talent to get them over the hump, even though the NFC South is arguably one of the weakest divisions in all of the NFL. New England Patriots. The Patriots may have reached Super Bowl 60 due to having a very easy schedule, but that's all about to get tossed out the window in 2026, having to square off against teams like the Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, the Steelers, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But on top of that, Stephon Diggs was released to escape his high-rising salary cap hit of $26.5 million, as well as escaping his age, as he's 33, and his legal issues, off the field at least, because of an alleged dispute that he had with his personal chef. The Patriots signed Romeo Doubs as his replacement, but he's never had a 1,000-yard season in his career so far. The most receiving yards Doubs produced was in 2025 when he had 724 with the Packers. The Patriots might also experience a strong Super Bowl hangover and fail to capture the lightning that propelled them to Super Bowl 60. Not to mention that the Buffalo Bills have a reloaded offense ready to compete for the 2026 season. So, yeah. Good luck, Patriots. You're really gonna need it. Green Bay Packers. The Packers had a nice start to the 2025 season, but the wheels came off the car as the losses and injuries piled up, resulting in them losing to their historic divisional rivals, the Chicago Bears, in the wildcard round of the playoffs. The Packers will not have Malik Willis, as he signed a 3-year, $67.5 million deal with the Miami Dolphins, who also hired former defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their new head coach. The Packers signed Desmond Ridder, who doesn't exactly scream experienced backup, as the guy really struggled on the field throughout his NFL career. The Packers also lost Kingsley Enagbare, Zane Anderson, and Quay Walker in free agency, which will hinder the team's defense. Not to mention the Packers dealt with special teams issues during the 2025 season collapse, resulting in Rich Bisaccia stepping down and getting hired by the Clemson Tigers to serve as their special teams coordinator. The Packers may have finished in 3rd place in 2025, but they have a tough schedule ahead of them, as they're set to square off against the Los Angeles Rams, New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills, and Houston Texans, who are all playoff caliber opponents ready to roll. Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers squeaked their way into the 2025-2026 playoffs and were immediately shown the exit in an embarrassing 16-3 loss against the New England Patriots in the wildcard round. Justin Herbert is talented, but the offensive line was a massive disaster, as he spent more time running away from opposing defenders than making big plays near the end of the 2025 regular season. The Chargers also lost Zion Johnson in free agency and signed Cole Strange, who has a 54.9 grade per Pro Football Focus and is clearly a downgrade from Johnson. The Chargers front office might not be doing enough to make sure their franchise signal caller is protected, as a strong offensive line is extremely important to have in today's NFL. Sure, Jim Harbaugh is an incredible coach and has won no matter where he's gone, but the Bolts have made the wildcard round twice now under his tenure, and they've come up empty-handed both times. If things don't change in 2026, the Chargers will have that permanent fraud label hanging over them for years to come. I mean, they already kind of do, but I think you know what we mean. The Chargers are known for, well, chargering. And 2026 is probably going to be the last chance that they get to shake that reputation. But hey, who do you think are the NFL's biggest frauds heading into 2026? Do you agree with the choices we've made? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.